Society likes to put music into neat boxes. On one side is classical music, the high art of the royal courts. On the other is folk music, the simple, everyday songs of the village. But if you listen closely, you'll find places where that vibrating sitar string morphs into much wilder territory. Indian classical music has a prestigious pedigree. Its literary proofs stretch back roughly 2,000 years to the Vedic period, with roots firmly planted in texts like the Samaveda and the Natya Shastra. This ancient theory evolved into a strict science. To perform classical music, you navigate a precise mathematical system of melodies called rags and rhythmic cycles called tals. Later, scholars mapped this complexity onto a strict notation grid. To master those rules, you joined a gharana. These formal institutions were the schools where maestros drilled theory into students over decades of intense discipline. The standard historical assumption is that without a formal gharana and a written notation system, human beings cannot achieve this level of high art musical complexity. Then we travel west into the Thar Desert of Rajasthan. Here, communities sing what is widely labeled as regional folk music. If we analyze the structure of this desert music, we find specific formal elements. The compositions utilize a sthai, a defined repeating refrain, followed by an antara, a carefully structured melodic verse. The singers decorate these melodies with murkis and tans, rapid microtonal vocal runs and trills that take years of physical control to execute. Hereditary desert tribes are performing the exact science of the royal courts, despite having no schools, textbooks, or formal institutions. The Langa and Manganir communities have spent centuries perfecting this art within the Barmer and Jaisalmer regions. Even though they served different local patrons, both groups developed their own highly structured yet entirely invisible lineages. Locally, they refer to their style as a gaiki, a baj, or a shaili, terms that carry the same functional weight as a formal gharana. This diagram illustrates their theoretical framework. Their oral tradition operates on a medieval principle linking 6 core rags to 36 distinct variations, or raginis. It is a highly organized mental library of sound. The Mond singing style illustrates this flexibility. Musicians alter its ascending and descending patterns based on geography, meaning the Mond of Udaipur follows a different structural architecture than the version performed in Jaisalmer. They apply that same rigor to their instruments. The Langas maneuver the Sindhi sarangi, a complex bowed instrument with 27 strings. Meanwhile, Manganayars command the kamayacha, carving resonant tones from a goatskin resonator and thick gut strings. When you combine that theoretical precision with the mastery of demanding stringed instruments, you are looking at a systematized musical science, a sonic architecture rivaling any royal court, built entirely in the mind. Without written records, this science is passed down through a strict guru-shishya parampara. It remains within the family, where elders pass the nuances directly to the youth through observation and oral repetition. This flowchart maps the economic engine that made it possible, the Jajmani system. Hindu, Rajput, Sindhi, and Bhatti families patronized specific Langa and Manganir lineages. Musicians performed at births, weddings, and festivals, and the financial support was inherited down the generations. This economic pact created a unique cultural synthesis. The Langa and Manganir are devout Muslims, yet they act as the primary genealogists and musical record keepers for their Hindu patrons. Their repertoire crosses theological lines. In a single evening, they can perform intricate Sufi qawwalis, transition into ancient Rajput battlefield epics, and close with devotional hymns to Hindu deities from the Ramayana. The Jajmani system funded the music, but it also cemented a cross-religious bond. These Muslim artists became the primary record keepers of a pluralistic Rajasthani culture. After India gained independence in 1947, the walls of the elite classical gharanas started to come down. Court music became available to the general public through schools and universities. But the Langa and Manganir kept their knowledge guarded. They refused to institutionalize their methods or teach their art to anyone outside their social context. Because of that boundary, the nuances of their vocal trills and rhythmic patterns remain undiluted by modern influences. This closed-loop oral tradition effectively freezes their technique in time, making them a living, breathing time capsule of medieval Indian heritage. The persistent label of folk often fails to account for this level of structural rigor. It suggests a simplicity that isn't reflected in the music itself. The Langa and Manganir prove that profound, mathematically complex art does not require a formal institution or a written textbook. Their unyielding devotion to their craft, to their patrons, and to their entire community, that is their Gharana.